This is your girl Li Noori coming to you with the come through. Welcome to Oracle of Li Noori, and welcome back if it's not your first time. We're going to be discussing philosophies more around love. And it's very important to shed light on the fact that abuse cannot coexist with love. That's where we become dysfunctional. That's when we introduce toxicity into the heat, okay? So let's just think of it like this. We have oil and vinegar, right? Oh yes. We have constituents and components of oil. We have fatty acids and we have esters, right? And then also we have ethanoic acid, we have ethylene acid, right? These things will never be able to intertwine and combine and be complete, right? Without something like egg, of course. So we would need like a bonding agent. There is a dysfunction and there is a toxicity level of the moment, so to speak. If we like to, as humans, create this nonsense way of thinking that we can abuse and love at the same time, in that aspect, we have to think of, hey, the constituents of love is care and compassion and patience. There's patience, there's respect, and then there's components of abuse. There's disrespect, there's neglect, there's heartlessness, there's impatience, there's dismissive energy regarding that, right? So we can say that, hey, there's levels of physical, emotional, mental, spiritual discrepancies and abuse, and then boom, there's elements of love. One cannot end up in the same place mentally after being in an emulsifier of, hey, abuse and love. So long story short, I can have oil, I can have vinegar, but that will never go in my cake. You know what I'm saying? In time, what this does to a human, it starts to desensify and desensitize a human, right? So we don't really have so much boundaries, and we don't have different healthy ways of knowing how to receive love or give love. From this way of thinking, you can actually choose various paths. One that can be enlightening through a lot of experience, one that can be self-limiting even. There are so many different paths that we go on when we are desensitized. We are not sensitive enough for our surroundings, right? And that kind of does us a disservice because we have needs, we have wants, and we have feelings. And what's the point of ignoring it all, right? I got into this conversation with my coworker the other day, and it's very true. After being in such a gross state of being, with being heartbroken and your faith being so shaken up over love, you may never want to experience that again. So with that being said, we just desensitize and we actually create a boundary to limit ourselves from what we may actually deserve, right? So we misdirect our love into abuse, and it actually starts with teaching children. It actually starts with how we discipline and how we actually have teachable and we use teachable moments with the people that are the little ones, right? So, you know, with this, we can make love a verb because, hello, the children, at the end of the day, whether you have them or you don't have them, they are a component of enlightenment. and especially because they're the future as well. So they may introduce you and may challenge you into thinking just a little bit differently. But listen, that's the point of being egoless. That's the point of introducing humility into our circumference. Because listen, life is about enlightenment. So, getting back to, let's make love a verb. Let's actually create action. We don't just say I love you, but we show I love you. You know, there's a lot of time where I've got into an argument in the past, and it's just like, you know, you would think a person that has love for me would talk to me a certain way when we're at odds, or at least come from a certain point of understanding if we're at odds. But it boggles my mind every time, and it kind of fucks me up, because I'm just like, you're not even mad about the situation anymore. You're just mad about how someone that claims to have so much love for you shows so much lack thereof. So it kind of creates a conflict within the mind with how to even think of yourself, think of the situation, think of the person, how to even grow from that. But so we can make love a verb by actually putting care, compassion, respect, patience, and a great genuine spirit as a foot forward towards the people that we say that we love, or the people that we want to end up loving, right? So we can have disciplining examples with the little ones. Okay, there's a such thing as there's a play and then a clean up. Okay, there's such thing as action and reward, right? There is acknowledgement, and then there is accountability, right? So everything is easier said than done, but we can always give a shot at it if we listen, let go of the egos, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Introduce the humility into our circumference, right? So with that being said, we unwrap dysfunction and we unwrap the misdirection pertaining to our intentions, right? We actually unwrap potential disregard, resentment, and we start to be in love with ourselves and how we come across in the world. We start to kind of invite that right back to us, you know? Because listen, we deserve it. That's as long as we say that we do. But if we keep playing us, you know, playing ourselves and sinking into different lower levels of vibration when it comes to communication and how we treat one another, then yeah, we may find ourselves in a little cycle that we eventually become stagnant in, because you know, who's growing when they're going through a cycle, the same cycle. There's spirals, because healing is never linear, but there's just cycles that just stay like a cylinder. But anyway, let's introduce the aspect of community. I actually got a post the other day about, oh, there's different African tribes, or there's different African communities and cities and people that actually are used to raising a child together. It's called It Takes a Village, right? So by even what we name our child when they're in discipline, whether we're giving accolades, we use their name to remind them of who they are, right? So why don't we actually introduce the same kind of concept, and we introduce, hey, let's have people around us that actually remind us of who we are, whether it's our godparents, whether it's our friends, whether it's aspects of members of our family, but people that you can kind of open up some of trust to. The problem these days is that things are built so quick, there's no more trust, because real souls like you and I know that, hey, we can't put our faith into something that's so light and never dense, because it's just like hopping on a lily pad in a swamp. Like, I would never want anyone, I would not wish that way of thinking on my worst enemy. Let's introduce elements of godparents and friends and family. Let's check in and create accolades. Let's create accountability. Let's create a healthy way of constructive criticism, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all humans and we don't like to be criticized because we have a shallow ego. But listen, if we invite love into this aspect, maybe it won't be so hard, you know? Maybe it won't be so rough and tough like my Afro puff, okay? With that being said, we have problem solving, we have conclusion, we have a solution oriented environment. Because at the end of the day, the world, whether you love your child and you feel like they're the best person in the world, they're going to make mistakes. So let's already invite love into how we deal with those mistakes. And I like to say, let's elevate our words and not our fists. There's an element of mental telepathy, mental connection, where a child can hold themselves accountable if you just hit it in the right spot. And sometimes you just gotta go through the maze and have time and patience and care and compassion and respect. Oh my God, what that is? Love? That's crazy. Anyway, the art of love is not discipline through punishment. We set the example and acknowledge others like you would yourself. We're not property, guys. Let's just remember that. As beings, as small beings, as old beings, as tall beings, we're not perfect, right? So we have to remember that we are not property as well, because just because we do something imperfect doesn't make our value go down, okay? That's a myth, okay? So we will respect ourselves. We will acknowledge ourselves as such, as who we are and who we want to be. Because guess what? What you want to be, you already are. Okay, don't think about it too hard. Okay, don't think about it too hard. I'll see you in the next video, because if you could get down with the crown and you're feeling this sound, like, share, subscribe to join my tribe, and share because I know you care. And next video, yeah, we'll be discussing more about topics of love and ways where we can conflict our falsities that's already implanted in our subconscious. I hope you found this video useful, and I will see you somewhere over there. Mwah, mwah, mwah.